The first of many big recruiting weekends this June for Florida State football in the 2025 class. Nearly double-digit visitors this weekend. I think 8 total so far, maybe some more rolling in.
Yeah.
But our guy Michael Langston has us covered with all the big names that are going to be here for FSU football. It's not quite the June 21st weekend, but the
Nothing
intensity is
is.
starting to ramp up a little bit, Michael. And there's some big names on campus this weekend for Florida State. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, there's nothing like going to be like June 21st, guys. But it would be ridiculous. We might drive out the Spice Man out there, and maybe get Aslan or somebody to help us because it's a lot. But this weekend is really pivotal because it's really exciting because there's a lot of really key targets that I feel like, in some capacity, FSU's, you know, either leading for, or they're trending in a positive direction. I think for me, the number one guy that I got my hooks and eyes on this weekend is going to be four-star defensive end Zion Grady. Steve Wilfong even shared on his show, like, I put in RPM pick for Miami, but I feel like going to these official visits, I think FSU is the team that has the most momentum, and the team that he feels like, holds the edge. Now certainly he visited Miami last weekend, so that might have evened out, but FSU will have a really pivotal chance to make an impact this weekend with Zion. I think Zion's really sold on the development of FSU defensive end of what they do, but I think the player interaction is going to be, for me, a big key as far as what they do presentation wise. Culture wise, I think that's also a big thing, and we always know FSU nails that hard. They're really good at that stuff when kids officially visit. So I think those two areas are probably the thing you'll look for. I think always academic presentation and just the impact of either Coach JP or Norvell. We saw last weekend with Conabani, you know he can make an impact on just giving extra juice to that recruiting weekends. That's the first guy I got on. Then you have the Seminole duo, Sanford Seminole, of four-star offensive lineman Max Buchanan, and then four-star linebacker commit we talked about a lot is Ethan Pritchard. I think Ethan Pritchard is the one to watch of. I think there's a decent possibility, if everything clicks and goes well, that he could shut down the recruitment and say, "Hey, I'm done with visits. I'm good." And then Max is probably one of the, if not the number one guy, he's one of the highest, coveted guys on the offensive line that FSU really wants. Miami is another team that's in there, UCF as well, that I think FSU's battling with. I think FSU's slightly ahead, but I think certainly this weekend is going to be a massive opportunity for FSU to just finish both of those, certainly recruitments off. You have several other visitors that are going to be very intriguing. One more intriguing one is certainly Usman Chromo. Are you going to show up? Are you going to be there? Is the visit still going to happen? And then what FSU does through that visit, what impact do you have on him? Because early in like December or January, FSU was the clear team that we heard was the favorite. And then since that time, they've kind of faded in that recruitment. So one, is he going to be there? And two, what do they do with him in that recruitment? Because I think they feel like, Byron Lewis they're in a good spot with him, four-star running back out of American Heritage. So that's one that's interesting. Another interesting one is Chase Lofton. That's another one that FSU got in the spring, visited. Nebraska's the team you hear the most about, but man, I was told, like, look out for FSU from people that are around Lofton, that, he really likes the production of what they do at tight end, both with when they had Cannon McDonald and then recently with Jaheim Bell, what they do there, and Kyle Warlock, the job that they do. So he's excited about what that offense showcases. And obviously, if you can get over the travel, I think he's from the Nebraska area. If that's not a crucial point to him, I think certainly FSU is a one team that you absolutely want to keep an eye on as far as that visit. Two other guys, Tony Williams, a four-star DB out of the South Florida area. He's committed to UCF, but he visited FSU in the spring, and I heard this is a guy that if they push for, it could get interesting. So that's a guy I'm not going to put him full range on my commit watch, but I think he's a guy to watch that if everything clicks and there's a push and he's feeling it, the FSU is definitely a team to keep an eye on. You also have 3-star DB who FSU absolutely loves is Max Redmond. He's also out of the South Florida area at Cardinal Newman and West Palm Beach, Florida. He's a guy that if I was picking commit watch, Ben, that's a guy that I feel like you could see pop, through this weekend. And then the last guy is probably one of the most recent offers, Ladarian Clardy. He's out of the Panhandle area. Ole Miss, Mississippi State are both teams that have been involved, but he got an offer from FSU, and this is the one he's waiting on. Immediately set up that official visit. So I'm interested to see if FSU can take over the lead or they're their sole leader for a guy like Ladarian, because I think he has a lot of good connections. Friends with Darius Washington, he knows him really well. Jonathan Daniels is already on the team; he's there already. So there's several connections to the Panhandle area of guys he knows, and then the high profile feeling he has about Patrick Surtain is a big deal. So I would not be shocked if you heard something like, "Hey, FSU is my favorite," or even the more going a step further, just maybe a decision. But I think that's probably a little farther away. But I think the goal is to kind of separate yourself from the pack with a guy like Ladarian. So a lot of different aspects, a lot of different angles, a lot of different things we're keeping an eye on going into this weekend with this really strong, June 7th official visit weekend.
Tons of storylines, prospects that'll be visiting FSU, not only this weekend, but over the coming weeks here in June. So make sure you're locked into warchant.com, the premium recruiting board. Michael and Matt will have you covered over there. We'll also have you covered on Warchant TV. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll see you next time here on Warchant TV.